a bit. I mean, she's doing this interview. She's got this beautiful Victorian house in the background with all of this nice furniture, and she's got the protection of a journalist. It's like, come on, lady. Do you really get any of this?
I mean, I will offer a limited defense of her. How about that? Because I mean, I think that the North Korea comparison isn't useful. It is the case that there have been a number of people who have some form of whether green card or legitimate immigrant visa being pulled aside in entering the United States at airports and being subject to very long questioning. There was a particularly, I think, very ominous, scary case about a Canadian woman who ended up in ICE detention for 2 weeks over what honestly appears a confusion over an immigration visa. I was recently back in Ireland and Britain, and I did hear anecdotally people express concerns about coming to the US, not only because those people might have been personally opposed to Donald Trump's policies, but because they had heard or been told about people getting very heavy questioning at airports even when they were here for innocuous reasons. In March, there was quite a significant fall off in international tourism to the US, people being more reluctant to come here. So I think what Amanpour is identifying, I think, is a sentiment that exists. I do think that she is over-egging the pudding quite substantially.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the underlying sentiment of the idea that there's tougher screenings now, additional questioning, maybe longer waits for people trying to get visas is reasonable, obviously, and that's a side effect of the crackdown on immigration and trying to ramp up border security. And I think most Americans hear Christiane Amanpour say this and say, well, we voted for this, right? We want the president to tackle this issue, and if that causes a temporary slowdown in tourism or other issues with immigrants that are coming to the U.S. legally, that's maybe a side effect that we're willing to deal with for a while.
Yeah, I think that is certainly how some people see it. I think that the more liberal view, whether domestically or internationally, does get to the whole due process and fairness concerns, and you and I have talked about various prominent cases in that respect. Then on top of that, in the case of someone like Amanpour, you do get into what I would consider Trump's very aggressive behavior toward the media, and whether that's suing certain organizations or calling out individual reporters, so on and so forth. I'm not sure that he has called out Amanpour recently, but certainly because of the CNN affiliation, she would, I think, feel that Trump and Trump supporters would be broadly hostile to that organization, obviously. So I do think that there are, I mean, I'm not completely dismissive of the overall concern. It's more I have much more problems with the language she used than with the overall concern that she's identifying.
Yeah, and wasn't she a war correspondent at one point?
She was.
I mean, it feels like one of those just classic moments where reporters become so spun up about Trump that they lose all context about what they're saying, because I mean,
North Korea.
Yeah, and suggesting that she would be facing greater danger than at any point in her career is pretty absurd. But do you want to talk about the travel ban, Niall?
We can, Amber. I
think I've said all I have to say about Christiane Amanpour.
Okay.
So
well, so I mean, my basic view of the travel ban is that it seems to me to be excessively arbitrary, and I don't really see. I mean, blanket bans on certain nations and not other nations, I'm very skeptical of. Trump yesterday in the Oval Office was asked about the fact that the guy in the recent attack in Boulder was an Egyptian national. Egypt is not on this list of countries, even though Trump is arguing for the list on national security grounds. So I think it's too arbitrary, and I'm perplexed as to, like, Chad is on there, for example, for reasons that are completely unclear to me.
Yeah, my understanding of it is that these are countries that don't provide internal vetting of their own citizens, or at least not to the standard that the U.S. would want when taking immigrants or tourists. And so the reasoning is that the U.S. would be entirely responsible for background checks with really imperfect systems, maybe systems that don't have much information about these people in these foreign countries. And so if they're not going to provide their own vetting or their own list or process, then the United States can't really make sure that they're keeping out potential threats.
As someone who's very skeptical of the Trump administration, I would need to see the objective evidence that not only that the vetting is insufficient there, but that they are in some way empirically worse than other countries who aren't on this list. As a matter of politics, it is, I think, notable that there has not been the outcry about this that there was when the initial travel ban came into play at the very start of the first Trump administration. I mean, I think there is legitimate grounds for outcry, but to your point, it's pretty obvious that the centre of gravity on anything relating to migration has shifted in a more Trumpian direction. I don't share that view, but I acknowledge that it's happened.
Yeah, and Trump also cited the Supreme Court precedent from the first admin as a way of trying to tamp down potential legal challenges as well.
Absolutely. Next up, Tucker Carlson and Mark Levin get into a heated exchange over Iran. Stick around for that.